You're listening to Blood and Breakfast, the most important meal of the day. All characters and events depicted in this work are entirely fictitious. Episode 1, Flames of Deception. In the picturesque town of Crestwood, a veil of deceit concealed the dark secrets lurking beneath the surface. Amelia Sinclair, a renowned socialite, lived a seemingly idyllic life with her husband, William. But behind closed doors, their marriage was a suffocating prison of manipulation and emotional torment. One fateful evening, the tranquility of Crestwood was shattered by a devastating fire that engulfed the Sinclair residence. The flames licked at the night sky, casting an eerie glow upon the horrified onlookers. As the inferno raged, screams echoed through the neighborhood, a symphony of terror and anguish. Firefighters battled the merciless blaze, their valiant efforts uncovering a gruesome discovery amidst the smoldering ruins, a charred body, beyond recognition, lying motionless in the remains of what was once a beautiful home. The sight sent shockwaves of horror through the tight-knit community, forever etching the trauma into their collective memory. Detective Michael Thompson, a seasoned investigator with a reputation for his tenacious pursuit of justice, was assigned to the case. With each step he took through the charred remains of the Sinclair residence, the weight of the tragedy pressed upon him, threatening to consume his spirit. The stench of burnt wood and sorrow lingered in the air, a constant reminder of the horror that had unfolded within those walls. As Detective Thompson delved deeper into the web of deceit surrounding the Sinclair family, he uncovered a tapestry of pain and manipulation. Interviews with friends, family, and acquaintances unveiled a fractured relationship between William and Amelia, their union an intricate dance of control and submission. Behind their polished facade lay a tangled mess of shattered dreams and broken spirits. A tip led the detectives to Nathan Anderson, whose obsession with her had festered like a cancer in his soul. Nathan's seething resentment towards William and his desperate desire to possess Amelia cast a dark shadow of suspicion over him. Detective Thompson delved into Nathan's troubled past, uncovering a history of violence and twisted infatuation that sent shivers down his spine. Through the ashes and rubble, the detective discovered a shattered wine glass, its delicate fragments tainted by the residue of a lethal poison. The realization sent a chill through his veins, a chilling reminder that the horrors of this crime extended beyond the infernos that consumed their lives. Witness testimony shattered the illusions of Amelia's innocence, revealing inconsistencies in her alibi that tore the fabrics of truth. Doubt seeped into the hearts of those who once saw her as a pillar of grace and sophistication. The town's collective grief transformed into a simmering cauldron of suspicion, leaving a stain on their collective consciousness. In the pursuit of justice, Detective Thompson unraveled a trove of damning evidence, a series of incriminating emails between Nathan and Amelia. The chilling correspondence laid bare their sinister plot, a conspiracy born from twisted desires and a thirst for power. The detective's hands trembled as he read the words, each syllable an echo of the darkness that consumed their lives. Interrogations plunged Amelia into the depths of her own deceit, where she could no longer hide behind her carefully constructed facade. The weight of guilt pressed upon her, breaking down the walls of her defenses, and she confessed to orchestrating William's murder. The truth spilled forth, painting a macabre portrait of a loveless marriage, suffocating control, and a desperate quest for freedom at any cost. The courtroom became a stage of raw emotions as Amelia Sinclair stood trial for the murder of her husband. The evidence presented painted a vivid tapestry of a woman consumed by deceit and driven to commit the ultimate betrayal. The haunting echoes of her deception reverberated through the hushed halls, seeping into the very bones of those who bore witness to the horrifying truth. Crestwood, forever marked by the echoes of deceit, carried the scars of this tragedy long after the courtroom drama ended. The survivors, traumatized and broken, sought solace in the flickering light of hope. Detective Thompson, haunted by the intricate web of lies he had unraveled, carried the weight of their trauma upon his shoulder, a burden that threatened to drown him in a sea of darkness. As the town slowly healed its wounds, its collective consciousness forever changed, the echoes of deception became a haunting reminder of the fragility of trust and the depths to which human nature could descend. Cresswood emerged from the shadows, its spirit bruised but unbroken, clenching onto the flickering hope of a brighter future, determined to rise above the horrors that had once consumed their lives.
Greenwood, a deceptively serene town shrouded in dark secrets, seemed untouched by the chaos of the outside world. The Johnson family, seemingly normal but aloof pillars of the community, resided in a picturesque suburban home on Oak Street that held a sense of disturbing perfection. Mark, an enigmatic entrepreneur with a cryptic smile, and Emily, a respected schoolteacher with a hauntingly somber gaze, were intriguingly devoted parents to their two children, Sarah and Jake, both of whom shared their parents' paradoxical charm. As the clock menacingly struck midnight on October 12th, a darkness thicker and deeper than the night fell over the town. Unbeknownst to the unsuspecting residents, a malevolent plot, the genesis of which lay hidden in a wicked heart, was brutally unfolding. The Johnson house stood eerily silent in the boding darkness, its occupants deep in a sleep that was about to be broken in the most terrifying way. The reluctant sun crept above the horizon, revealing an unnerving sight on Oak Street. The Johnson home was a tomb-like monolith in the morning light, all its welcoming warmth extinguished. A concerned neighbor, Miss Anderson, felt a chilling dread creep up her spine when she noticed the Johnsons' front door creaking in the wind, revealing a foreboding darkness within as she embarked on her morning walk. Detective Rachel Morgan, a hard-edged veteran with a chilling intuition, arrived on the scene, her eyes taking in the chilling tableau with grim determination. Their once serene home was now a horrifying crime scene, with each room holding a tale of violence that would haunt the town forever. Emily's lifeless body, found in the kitchen near a broken wine glass, painted a terrifying picture of her futile struggle for survival. The blood splatter on the kitchen tiles suggested she was caught by surprise, and the defense wounds on her hands indicated she had fought back. In the master bedroom, they found Mark's body. He lay motionless on the floor, his hand stretched out towards the bedside table, where they found a tuft of hair clutched in his hand, hinting at the possible struggle with the assailant. His expression, frozen in a grimace of shock, suggested he didn't anticipate the attack. In Jake's room, a haunting sight greeted the investigators. Jake was discovered sprawled on the floor, his baseball bat, typically used for his school games, lay a few feet away from his lifeless body. The room was disheveled, possibly indicating that a struggle ensued before Jake was overpowered. The most heartbreaking discovery was in Sarah's room. Sarah was found slumped against her bed, an open diary next to her. Her terror written on the page marked in tear stains, a chilling entry that read, "I think someone's in the house." It was evident she had sensed danger but was unable to escape. Together, these discoveries painted a gruesome picture of a family ambushed in their own home, each member facing their end in a violent struggle against an unknown assailant or assailants. Forensic investigators swarmed the gruesome crime scene. The footprints leading throughout the house suggested multiple perpetrators, adding an insidious layer to the mystery. Despite their meticulous examination, the elusive nature of the criminals and their careful planning left little in the way of conclusive evidence. Mr. Jonathan Williams, a man steeped in grief and resentment, stood out among the distraught neighbors. His deep-seated hatred for Mark Johnson was well known, and his elusive alibi for the night of the murders cast a looming shadow of suspicion over him. Detective Morgan, delving into the labyrinth of hostility and deceit, focused on every lead with relentless determination. The epicenter of her investigation was Mr. Jonathan Williams, a man intertwined with bitterness and clouded by an invasive alibi. His animosity towards Mark Johnson was a well-known fact within the Greenwood community, a contentious feud sparked by past property disputes and worsened by personal tragedy. Williams' wife had died in a tragic car accident 2 years earlier, an incident he held Mark responsible for, despite lack of any factual basis. His grief, festering over time, had metamorphosed into a deadly obsession for retribution, darkening his every interaction with the Johnson family. This festering grudge became a potential motive in the eyes of the investigators. For the night of the murders, his alibi was threadbare. Williams claimed to have been at a local bar, but no patrons could corroborate his claim, and the bar's CCTV footage was mysteriously absent. Despite his adamant denials, the conspicuous lack of an alibi kept him firmly within the crosshairs of the investigation. In the meantime, a breakthrough came from the cybercrime unit. They had discovered encrypted messages on William's computer, linking him to the dark web. In the depths of those encrypted files, they uncovered conversations between Williams and an anonymous user discussing a potential job. The specifics of the conversation, with references to the Johnson home and a proposed solution to Williams' problems, sent chills down the investigators' spines. The mounting evidence, coupled with Williams' hatred for Mark, the dubious alibi, and the dark web connection, tightened the noose around him. As Detective Morgan pieced together this grim jigsaw puzzle, she knew they were closing in on the truth behind the horrific murders, drawing the real perpetrators out from their shroud of shadows. With Williams trapped in a corner by the damning evidence, Detective Morgan's ruthless interrogation bore fruit. His veneer of innocence crumbled, revealing the desperate, vengeful man beneath. His confession was shocking in its cold-bloodedness. He admitted to orchestrating the murders, but he hadn't committed the act himself. Williams confessed that his hatred had driven him to the dark web, where he had hired an anonymous hitman to eliminate the Johnson family. The encrypted conversations on his computer weren't just conjecture. They were the solid proof of his dark intent. His disturbing rationalization was that he wanted the Johnson to endure a loss like he had, casting his suffering onto them. Yet, the identity of the hired killer remained an enigma. Williams claimed they had only communicated through encrypted messages, ensuring the hitman's hidden identity. The knowledge that the cold-blooded assassin was still at large sent a shiver down the spine of the investigation team.
On an unforgiving winter night in Riverton, under the spectral glow of a bar's flickering lights, sat Jack Crawford. He nursed his whiskey like a balm for his soul, grappling with the impending doom of his fractured marriage. As a man of wealth and influence, his public facade was a stark contrast to the chaos brewing within him. In the same bar, Ethan Montgomery, an unassuming teacher, sought refuge from his own storm. The burden of his wife Rachel's escalating medical bills threatened to submerge his family into an abyss of debt. Under the heavy veil of their desperate circumstances, the two men found themselves face to face. Friends in their youth, their lives had diverged. That night, their paths intertwined once again, not in camaraderie, but in shared desperation. Their conversation flowed, fueled by whiskey and desperation. Jack's failed marriage to Olivia threatened his wealth and social standing. In contrast, Ethan found himself on the precipice of ruin, brought about by Rachel's debilitating illness. Their conversation took a grim turn when Jack presented a horrifying solution to their mutual plight. "We can help each other, Ethan," Jack proposed, his eyes holding a chilling glint. "We can make them disappear." From that night, an insidious plan began to form, seeping into their lives like a deadly poison. Jack would stage a tragic accident to end Rachel's life, while Ethan would orchestrate a fatal incident for Olivia. They wove their plot with alarming precision, their correspondence hidden in anonymous letters, cloaked with code names and cryptic language. They moved like ghosts in the night, their treacherous actions shielded from the world. Under the shadow of a moonless night, Jack executed his part of the pact, slipping a lethal dose of poison into Rachel's nightly medicine, weighing heavily on his conscience. As he exited the house, Jack felt the enormity of his actions. In contrast, Ethan sabotaged Olivia's vehicle to introduce a catastrophic failure, ensuring it would occur on a notorious stretch of road known for its fatal accidents. The day came when Olivia unknowingly embarked on her final journey, leaving Ethan behind, now a man burdened with a dreadful secret. Riverton mourned the tragic losses of Rachel and Olivia, oblivious to the malevolent undercurrents that connected the two deaths. Detective Andrea Hayes, a seasoned investigator with a keen eye for detail, sensed something amiss. Her pursuit of the truth led her down a twisted path involving Jack and Ethan, their shared history, and an eerie web of deceit. As Detective Hayes dug deeper, the consequences of their monstrous deeds began to suffocate Jack and Ethan, their alliance fractured under the strain of paranoia and fear. The climax of their despair came when Ethan, unable to bear the crushing weight of his guilt, confessed to their horrifying pact, thrusting Jack into the merciless glare of the law. The courtroom reverberated with the heinous details of their vile pact. Riverton was left shaken as the horrifying depth of their betrayal was laid bare. Jack and Ethan were convicted for their crimes, leaving their families shattered and the town forever marked by their atrocities. Thus, the tale of Jack Crawford and Ethan Montgomery remains a chilling testament to the devastating paths that desperation and greed can carve, permanently scarring the soul of Riverton, their once idyllic hometown. In the aftermath of the trial, Riverton was a town forever changed. The residents had lost their innocence, and the scars left by Jack and Ethan's betrayal were etched deeply into the community's psyche. Their once serene hometown had become a place of haunting whispers and lingering shadows, the echo of their horrific crimes still resonating in the hearts of its people. In the cold solitude of their prison cells, Jack and Ethan were left with nothing but the bitter taste of their regret and the damning silence of their thoughts. The ghosts of their deeds haunted them, whispering endless echoes of guilt and remorse. As they grappled with their solitude, their sanity teetered precariously on the brink of despair. The magnitude of their actions, a dark abyss from which there was no escape. Years later, Jack and Ethan crossed paths one final time. Their reunion was marked not by the camaraderies of their youth, but by the chilling weight of their shared guilt. Their eyes met, two hollow reflections of their monstrous deeds they had committed. There was no forgiveness to be found, only the echoing silence of their shared damnation. The tale of Jack Crawford and Ethan Montgomery remains etched forever in Riverton's history, a grim reminder of the depths to which desperation can drive ordinary men. Their horrifying pact and the devastation they inflicted on their loved ones serve as a bleak warning, a chilling testament to the haunting dance of greed and despair. The town of Riverton continues to heal, forever bearing the scars of the chilling deeds of two of its own. The legacy of Jack and Ethan's betrayal lives on, casting a long shadow over the town, a constant reminder of the darkness that once lurked within its borders.